All right, this ain't Rocket Science People, episode 75. I'm here with Afia from According to Afia, also co-host of Three Birds and a Plant podcast. What's going on with you?
Hello, Tremaine. Thank you for having me on. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So it's draft week. The name of this podcast will probably be Draft Day. As you can see, I'm dressed with my
You
Eagles
ready?
jersey on. Off mic, Afia and I were just talking about how this is actually my first time with the Eagles green back on. Well, not the Eagles green, but I've been wearing it inside out as a silent protest. For the record, I am still not happy with the team or the organization, but I'm just trying to be festive. I'm trying to get into the mood.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoy the draft. How do you feel about the
Mm-hmm.
draft?
Oh, this is our holiday. Are you
Right.
kidding me? For real sports fans who actually enjoy football and not just rooting for your team, you should enjoy the nature of the draft. There's intrigue, there's drama, there's always somebody you didn't expect to falling. There's always a crazy pick going on. So the 3 days are the best. I actually went to the draft that was in Philly. Like I was living in Philly at the time in 2017, and I got an invitation to go to be there, and it was amazing. It's beautiful. So if you're a fan and you want to get into the game, definitely the draft is a good place to start.
Yeah, I was there as well, along with like what 2 million other people. And I didn't get
Right?
invited. I was somewhere in the crowd to see the people, but no, that was a good time. And it's funny, the NFL know how to make money. They didn't took this draft and turn it into a Thursday prime time situation. So Athea and I are coming together on a Tuesday afternoon before the draft. And like I said, the NFL done turned this thing into like a primetime event. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to this conversation. Every time you and I hook up is always a good time. But before we start, what's up with According to Afia? Where can they find that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So, my name is Afia, and I have a blog called According to Afia. It is a mental health and sports blog. As Tremaine knows, in my personal life, I work in the mental health field, and I've noticed that in sports, we sometimes forget how important it is to be mentally well and to be mentally strong. We can even talk about a certain player of ours that is struggling with that right now,
Which
and
one?
how fans have reacted. So I created a blog, cultivated a blog to kind of address that issue and sort of deconstruct stigmas around mental health, Black mental health. That's a really big importance to me, and in sports mental health. So if you really enjoy any of those three, please check out my blog, According to Afia. And as Tremaine knows, I also run a podcast with two other friends called Three Birds and a Punt. You could also find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Anchor. Um,
And what's your Instagram?
and when we just talk shit on the Eagles every week.
Pretty much. And that's why I like coming on your show. It's one subject. We're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about these Eagles and see what's going on. All right. So this ain't Rocket Science episode 75. As always, I always want to kick this show off on a positive note.
Mm-hmm.
So, Fia, come on, let's get it started. I need you to give me something positive about Howie Roseman's draft history. Give me something positive. Let's get
You
this.
asking for that's a heavy lift, bro, on a Tuesday?
Come on, let's be
Damn.
positive. Let's be positive. Give me something positive, not just his draft history, but let's just say his top picks, like his number one picks on draft day. Give me
Okay.
something good.
Let me see if I can be positive today and say something positive about Howard Roseman. Um, you know what? I had a tweet out today. Howard Roseman is very good at later round picks. He's able to sort of get these low quality, we wouldn't call them great starters, we call them good starters. For the value of the pick is pretty astronomical. I'm thinking about Jalen Mills in particular, a 7
Seventh
round
round.
pick, right? No one really expected Jalen Mills to really do anything, and he was on the Super Bowl winning team, so you can't fault that. He got himself a good contract out there with the Patriots when he finally hit free agency, and he has done everything the Eagles asked him to. He was a consummate team player when he was with us. So that's a good draft. I can always say, okay, I will never not say thank you, Howie, for doing what you did to go up to the draft and get Carson, because without Carson, we do not win our first Super Bowl. And I don't care how many Eagles fans want to rewrite history because they hate the guy and they're so mad that he couldn't stand Howie, he left, blah blah blah. I don't give a shit. I don't care. We do not win the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz, and that does not happen also without Howard Roseman. So those are the two positive things I can say.
All right. Good thing Whip wasn't on the show because Whip.
Oh my God, bro! If Whit was here, he'd be like, "No, Steph, what the fuck is that?"
All right, so let's get into it. I want to start before we get into the Eagles. I kind of want to start with a broader approach about the whole NFL.
Hmm.
So where do you see? So we all know top pick Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. How do you see him projected in the NFL, particularly for Jacksonville?
That's a really interesting question. Recently I've been seeing a lot of like videos and segments on the idea that most of the quarterbacks taken in the common football era don't actually last that long with the original team that drafted them. And of course, we have Jared Goff and Carson Wentz as your most recent examples of players who kind of, get into that second contract, but it doesn't work out and then, they're gone. So when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I'm kind of struck actually by the interview that he did with Sports Illustrated that kind of started a whole fiver over his like desire to play, right? It
Uh,
was like he's like, I could walk away tomorrow and I'm good, and people was like, the fuck? What does that mean? And I
People don't
and
want to
I
hear
read
that.
it and I kind of took it and I got the nuances of it. And he was like, basically, football doesn't define me. I am not defined by football. And I think that's healthy. I think that's important. I think when you have players that are overly defined by one aspect, it can consume them and they can be too high or too low based on something that is maybe outside of their control. I think of Andrew Luck, in particular, who he himself told us that he was so consumed by football that he wasn't able to create an identity without it when he was injured, and that created a lot of issues and he had to sort of reconstruct his whole lifestyle. And that was what caused him to walk away when he felt like I can't do another injury rehab. So I think Trevor Lawrence has the potential to be a generate like they call him a generational player. I think
Mhm.
he does have the potential to be that. Um, but I also do think that you guys should be mindful. This man is here to get his coins and do what he needs to do. I see all the endorsements he's getting. So he wants to get his coins, do what he needs to do. And Super Bowl or not, when he's done, he's done. Maybe that works for these Jacksonville fans. We gonna see.
Right. So I got pretty much two comments of what you said. The first was I kind of feel like that's an old school mindset where, hey, I want you about football, all about football, it got to be about
Hmm.
football. Nowadays, the new generation of athlete, they do more. You
Hmm.
know, I played basketball in high school and college, and it was when I was coming up, you pick a sport, you play one sport. You pick a
Hmm.
thing, you play one thing. So I kind of feel like him being a new generation of athlete, they do have more interest. They are
Hmm.
they are exposed to more things. So me
Hmm.
personally, I didn't see anything wrong with him saying, I have other interests. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure he had other interests in high school. He had other interests in college, and he was still able to maintain, a high level of play. And I feel like if he don't do well in the NFL, people will say, "Well, that's because he likes ballerinas. That's because he
Hmm.
likes jazz. That's because he." So I don't think it was smart for him to say it, but I had no problem with what he said. And also, I respect an athlete who tells the truth and
Right.
don't just give you
Absolutely. That is not
just don't
bothered
give
by
you
other people's opinions.
yeah, because
Mhm.
Andrew Luck, he was the king of I'm gonna just give you a corporate answer and let you just give you the answer, give you the answer I want to hear. Another
Right.
thing I want to say because you mentioned about how a lot of quarterbacks don't do well with the first team they're with, and I want to
Hmm.
ask you about this. Don't you think it's more system and fit? I mean, normally the top quarterback is going to the worst team in the league. That's why
Hmm.
you're the
Yep.
top quarterback. So
Yep.
how do you feel about that? So when we project Trevor Lawrence, I don't care how good you are at football. I say it all the time. It's a team sport. But you're going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, my man. So that's why I asked you, how do you see him projecting because of the fit? He has
Hmm.
Urban Meyer as his head coach, who's
Hmm.
a rookie
Hmm.
head coach. So how do you
Hmm.
see him projecting, not just the season, but moving forward?
I honestly, okay, so him as a person, him as a player, I think he is probably well equipped for the environment he's going into because from I don't know, from the time he was in maybe junior league football, they kind of had him build as a star. So he's always kind of come into programs and kind of, lifted a tide lifts all boats, so to speak. So I think in that aspect, it might go well initially, but also he's never consistently lost. Like he's never really like I think his college football record is ungodly. It's unheard of, right? Like only
Right.
two losses, I believe. So
Yeah. At the
so
start, yeah.
for him to go from that to a constant winning nature to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I'm sorry to say, it's gonna be a shit show. Urban Meyer is the head honcho, even though over top the GM, okay? Urban Meyer's ahead of the GM. So he's picking all the players. He's choosing all this, that, and third. I know people like him in college, but college is not the NFL.
Not
How many college football coaches have come to the NFL and crashed and burned. And I couldn't see the same thing happen to Urban Meyer because also didn't he also have some thing in the background with his interpersonals or how he handles coaching and kind of, you know what I mean?
He tried
So
to
to
bring on
me,
a
it
racist
just
coach. He tried to bring on a racist coach. They swept under
right.
the rug this offseason, but yeah, it just showed
Right,
his
right. There's
actually.
some things in the and to your point, like it's to me, it's always about fit and scheme, always with the player because we project players are athletes. Okay, you're not gonna tell me that a person's gonna get to an organization and all of a sudden forget how to be an athlete. It just does not happen. They don't go 21 years doing a sport and then forget how to be. No, the system, the scheme comes in and overrides their athletic abilities. So it would be interesting to see what scheme they'll have in Jacksonville. I know that when they were like that 1 second away from going to the playoffs over Tom Brady, that was their zenith. That was when they were at their height, and they've been chasing that high ever since. So I think when you're chasing a high, it's gonna be nothing but crash.
Now I think about it, they fell apart the same way the Eagles did, except we actually won a Super Bowl that year.
Correct,
But
correct.
one thing about Trevor Lawrence, like you said, I mean, I've had eyes on him literally since he was in high school. So
Hmm.
he's been a known product. We've seen this coming. He'll be the number one overall draft pick, which is the total opposite of this kid that's projected to go number two, Zach
Mm.
Wilson. How do you feel about him first as a player? How do you see him? Yeah, how do you see him projecting in the NFL, especially for the Jets? Same situation. Nobody has been able to turn the Jets around. Yeah, how do you see him projecting?
Um, First of all, for those who don't know, who don't follow me, I am a Justin Fields stan account. Okay, I need to preference whatever my comments on Zach Wilson has to be preference from the fact that I am
Let me
a
just say this.
Justin Fields stan account.
I don't want to cut you off, but I was going to get to him jumping
Okay,
Justin Fields.
no,
I have
I
a
know. I
problem with that personally.
just for me, I
Shoot.
can't talk Wilson without mentioning the fact that I think it's
Exactly.
bullshit that
Exactly.
Wilson is two above Justin Fields. Okay,
All
so
right.
stick it to Wilson. Um, I think that it is very interesting to me how quickly certain quarterbacks who don't necessarily have a pedigree get compared to people with pedigrees
Who they comparing him to? Go
because
ahead and say
he.
it. Who are they comparing him
You
to?
know
Go
what
ahead
I'm
and say
talking
it.
about.
Go
Because
ahead
he
and say
went to
it.
BYU, all of a sudden he's the next Steve Young. Okay,
I, I thought you were
okay,
going to say
Jets,
Mahomes. I've been hearing
roll the
Mahomes.
dice.
I've been hearing Mahomes. I thought you were going to say Mahomes.
Oh no. What I was hearing is what I get a lot of comparisons for him is Steve Young because Steve Young was a BYU
Right.
quarterback. So they're like, well, I don't is it Division 1, Division 2, small
Division
school,
one.
whatever, right? Small
Yeah.
school, and it came up, and he was able to be so electric. So of course the assumption I guess is because Steve Young do it, Zach Wilson could do it. I guess and then they have all these profiles of him, going out to California and doing DoorDash to pay for his training, as if that again, you are trying to feel good me into
It's a
believing
story.
this
Yeah, it's a
guy
story.
is going to be able to be the guy, and maybe that will work for Jets fans, but I'm definitely a little bit cautious because I feel like Joe Douglas, who's the GM for the Jets, was the personnel director of player personnel for the Eagles when we chose Carson Wentz. So I'm thinking the same sort of dynamic, sort of small school, big fish in a small pond, going to a hyper sensitive media market that is crazy, crazy, crazy about their football. It's going to be interesting for the kid, and I think again, it's a quarterback league. We
Hmm.
have outsized expectations for quarterbacks.
Hmm.
Um, Wilson was probably like fourth QB for me, if I'm going to be completely honest. But he's going to be
Right.
the second one taken.
That's crazy. That's crazy how that works. So I'm
Hmm.
so I'm with you. I've been Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields forever. I've liked
Hmm.
Justin Fields ever since seeing him on that Netflix show. I think it's called
Yes, QB
QB1.
one,
Right.
correct.
So how do you feel about all right, so we can go to number three. Number three, we got
Hmm.
they're saying going to be Mac Jones. So my
Hmm.
question to you is, how do you feel about Mac Jones and Zach Wilson jumping Justin Fields? Do you think it's race related? Do you think it's politics? Because I just can't see how.
It's absolutely racially related. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that you have. Okay, I know the rap on Ohio State quarterbacks. Let me just preface that. Okay, I understand that there is a stigma attached to Ohio State quarterbacks. But wouldn't you say the same stigma applies to Alabama quarterbacks and some other effort from BYU who's only ever had one other player do well and has a name to fame? So to me, the fact that they use that as some type of signifier that he's automatically going to be bad doesn't even make any sense to me, and that's why I think it's a race thing. And to your point about Mac Jones, part of me hopes and prays that the 49ers are just effing with us, right? That the red herring is Mac Jones. And everybody thinks he's going to pick Mac. They're going to pick Mac Jones, but then they're going to swoop in and do Justin Fields or Trey Lance like they should, because what does Mac Jones give to Kyle Shanahan that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't, that CJ Berthel didn't, that Nick Mullins didn't? Honestly, I just don't see what the upgrade is. Why would you could have had Mac Jones at 6, 12, whatever the fuck you was at originally. Why are you jumping up to 3 for Mac Jones? It makes no sense to me. It's actually really upsetting too, because he has some off the field issues.
Mac Jones
that never gets this. Mac Jones. He had 2 DUIs. I'm gonna call it, okay. And you see, you don't know that. You see, and yet this man is out here talking about, he's so good, this, that, and third, and they're questioning. It always comes down to we don't know how well Justin Fields processes, right? It's always when they talk black quarterbacks, they always talk about mental acuity. Can they process this speed of game? Even though on more than 50% of his throws, he was throwing to his second or third read, right? There's still the narrative is, how quickly can he mentally process the game? His arm strength is out of this world, but he doesn't have the accuracy to do it. He's a warrior in the gym. We question his work ethic. We question his ability to stay on the field. This man broke his ribs in the champion playoff game and came back. And y'all questioning his makeup? Y'all questioning his mental fortitude? Come on, you gotta tell me. It has to be race. It has to be.
That's my thing. I kind of feel like on the field, what more could Justin Fields have done? He even beat Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. And also I agree with you about Mac Jones, where it's like super generic. He'll run the offense. That's what they keep saying.
Exactly. So you can plug and play. You can plug and play any mofo. And Kyle Shanahan made Kirk Cousins look like a top 5 QB. You can really make anybody look good in a Kyle Shanahan style offense. So you're really gonna tell me they moved up all that draft capital for Mac Jones?
That's what I'm saying. It's tough for me to believe. Like Mac Jones, like I said, super generic. He'll run the offense, but to be honest, at Alabama, I can run the offense. We got fucking 5 blue chips in front of me. We got the best wide receivers. I mean, I just said it was a team sport.
Right.
I'll run that team.
Man, Tua was looking good at Alabama. And how does he look now with the Dolphins? I'm just saying. And a little Jalen Hurts too. Wasn't he looking good at Alabama?
Right. So just to finish up on some of the top picks, what would you? We both probably like we said. We said Mac Jones maybe. Like you said, even Trey Lance, whatever his name is, might jump up there. What would you like to see happen for Justin Fields? Would you like to see the Patriots trade down? Trade up possibly and grab him, or what would you like to see happen?
In an ideal world, I'd like to see the Eagles pick him up. I'm not even gonna hold you. In an ideal world, like that would make my night. Okay, if the Eagles somehow was able to get Justin Fields. I don't know how. I don't know where. I understand that it's most likely not happening, but that would make my day, just for the utter chaos that it would cause in Eagles world. But yeah, I could see a situation because we have a couple of quarterback needy teams. We got the Denver Broncos. We've got the Patriots. I'm trying to think. I know the Panthers already got Sam Darnold, so they're kind of set for a little bit. I know the Falcons are, they it's too prohibitive to do anything with Matty Ice's contract right now. They're locked in on $50 million cap hit for the next 2 years, so like they have to just deal. I know the Lions picked up Jared Goff, but honestly, I don't know how much they invested a little bit in the guy, so I guess they got to give him a season. So yeah, I think the Patriots have to leapfrog the Denver Broncos, right? Because right now the Denver Broncos only have Drew Lock on the roster. You've already seen 2 seasons out of him. He's
Right.
not your franchise
He's
QB.
not it.
So I could see a situation where the Patriots would like that, but they're not
Maybe
jumping up into the top 5 for Justin Fields. You know what I
no,
mean?
no, no.
Bill is not going to pay that much money for a QB. Not with history and 6th-round pick Tom Brady dancing in his head. So
Right.
it'll probably come down to maybe the Broncos and depending on what the Patriots end up doing.
Right. Yeah. The only way, like I said, the only way he would probably slide is if, like, you got to also, in between those quarterbacks, we didn't really get into it, but you got to sprinkle in Kyle Pitts,
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase,
Mm-hmm.
what, Devon? No, not Devontae, not that high. Matter of fact, let me, yeah,
Penny Sowell,
yeah, yeah.
the maybe even one of the cornerbacks, excuse
Corner,
me.
Surtain from
Yeah,
Ohio
Sartain, maybe
State.
Horn.
Where are you at when it comes to Waddle and Devontae? 2 wide receivers from Alabama, teammates, good guys. Which one would you prefer? Just in general, not for a specific team, but in general, what would you prefer, Waddle
In general,
or
I probably prefer the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm thinking to myself, historically, Heisman Trophy winners go on to do really well. Like I caveat that because I know some quarterbacks have good this, good that, but most likely, if you are a Heisman Trophy winner, you're going to be an impact player in the league. So I'd probably go with. To me, the weight is not a concern. What would be interesting to make sure is that can he get off press? That's what I want to know. Can
mm-hmm.
he get off press? And can he add weight? Those are my 2 big considerations without sacrificing his speed. And that is nutrition. Most wide receivers come in a little bit under, and you kind of got to get them bulked up. Same thing with O linemen. You got to get them bulked up to play the position at the NFL level, and I'm totally fine with that. I think that would be a home run hit if we were at 6. We could have gotten one of the and a home run hit. At 12, we're probably more likely for Waddle, which would be good too. He's fine. I honestly think it's a bit of a waste of resources to continually waste the 1st-round pick on wide receiver, not waste, but use a 1st-round pick on wide receivers when we already have Jalen Reagor, we already have JJ Arcega-Whiteside, we already have, but that's Howie, so.
Right. All right, so let's get into it. So at 12, you're Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, but before we get into what you would like to see them do and what you think they'll do, which are 2 separate things.
Correct.
You mentioned you would like to see Justin Fields coming to the Eagles. So I got to ask, how do you feel about current QB1, even though they didn't ordain him as such, Jalen Hurts? How do you feel about Hurts?
All right. So I have to split up my assessment of Hurts because I know when I talk about Hurts, people only hear one and they don't hear the other. I like the kid, okay? I like the person. He has great intangibles. He seems to have the right mentality for Philadelphia and sort of just a workers, grinders. I'm gonna outwork you, and that's how I'm gonna prove my worth. He seems to have a good way of bringing the players together and making them feel connected to him. The young guys are gravitating to him. So those are all good things. Those are all things that I appreciate. Okay. But okay, who should I believe, you or my lying eyes? Because guess what? I understand football. I watch the game of football. I see what I see. Okay. And when I look at Jalen on the field, okay, I see exactly what the Eagles see, which stops them from confirming overwhelmingly that he's their starter. Okay. I see a QB that tends to have one read, and if that one read isn't there, he takes off. Not like Justin Fields, who actually processes a little bit, but Jalen has, because he trusts his leg a little bit more than he trusts his arm, or maybe due to the scheme or what was going on with him last year, he was just more prone to take off and not really go through his progressions. I also noticed that for Jalen, he has his ball. I understand where we all say his arm strength is good, blah blah blah. But I've seen a couple of them throws that were just a little bit short, and they're hanging so long. You're like, that's not good, So I have some sincere concerns about his ability to process, his escapability, which in the short term is great because you get great runs and that's always dynamic, but in the long term makes him more prone for injuries. I don't know how that hold up over a 16-game season. And then again with his accuracy and arm placement, those are genuine concerns for me.
Okay, so listen, but we're at 12 as of right now, and he's the quarterback along with what's my man that just came from
Joe
Baltimore?
Flacco.
I said from Baltimore. He's been somewhere else between them. Yeah, Joe Flacco. So we
Mm-hmm.
got Joe Flacco. We got Jalen Hurts in the QB room. I appreciate your opinion on Jalen Hurts, but it looks like right now he's going to be our quarterback. So with
Correct.
that being said, what would you like to see the Eagles do with this draft? Me personally, if we done got rid of Carson Wentz and our head coach, and now he's our quarterback, I would like to see us give him the best chance to succeed, which basically means at this point, build the franchise around him. Now, I'm not saying sell future assets. I mean, we've actually gained some, next year, extra first round pick and stuff like that. But I don't say just send the man out there because, again, it's a team sport. It's a system. I keep saying it. He's going to look bad. So if we're going to pick the young man out there, I say let's build around him. Let's try to make him look good. Don't just send him out there just so next year you can say, well, told you it wouldn't work. Let's go grab a quarterback. So with all that being said, I don't really have a personal preference for the draft. I can get to that later in the conversation. What would you like to see them do? Would you like to see them stand behind him and try to make him look good, or what?
So you bring up an interesting point about like what you would have wished they had, put the resources into Jalen. And to that, I would say, to me, if they had faith in Jalen, if they had confidence in his ability to kind of cement himself as the franchise starter, they wouldn't have moved back from 6 to 12, because there's a huge difference. We can't deny there's a huge difference between the 6th pick and the 12th pick. And I know that there have been reports that Howie's trying to climb back into the top 10. He really needs to get ahead of the Giants and the Cowboys, because if they pick a player that the Eagles fans had on their mind, the way that the fans heads will explode will just Howie needs to leapfrog them guys. So I know he's like calling and trying and making sure for whichever player they're trying to get. But in my estimation, what they decided on doing, and honestly it's probably what a lot of teams decided to do, is saying this draft 2021 is a bit of a crapshoot because of COVID. There wasn't the combine. They didn't get the medical invitations. They didn't get as much information as they usually get when they're making these picks. So more than ever, they're going to be really just shooting fish in a barrel. So the Eagles are making an estimation of this year isn't our year. This year is an evaluation year of the team currently that we have. We're going to be infusing the roster with young players. We have 11 picks this draft, 9 picks in 2022. We'll probably end up with more than 9 picks in 2022. I think, honestly, they're gearing up to say that 2022 is our shoot for the moon year. Like, we're taking off in that. So to me, I don't have too much energy invested in this season, because I don't feel like the Eagles have too much energy invested in the season. Specifically when it comes to the 12th pick, there's, like you said, there's what I'd like them to do, and that's what I think the Eagles would do. What I'd like the Eagles to do is pick an impact player that is going to go on the field and, as you say, help Jalen immediately. So that would be either a wide receiver or a cornerback, because our defense is pretty mid, and Darius Slay has nobody over there on the other side to help him, and we're facing premier wide receivers from the Washington football team, the Dallas Cowboys, and you could say the Giants. So we really have to get ourselves an elite cornerback to lock down the position for 10 years. So I would really like to see either Horn or Patrick Surtain if we're doing defense, and then if offense, I'd like to see Waddle, and maybe if Smith is there, take Smith, okay? That's what I'd like to see. What will happen?
What will happen if he?
What will happen when Howie Roseman is running the draft is he's going to look down the list and be like, let's take an O-lineman. And let me tell you, there's 2 O-linemen that he's going to be salivating over. It's going to be Penei Sewell and that Slater guy. And so if any of them, because the impact players are taken off the board and they're kind of dropping a little bit, he's going to trade up to get an O lineman. And we should just be so lucky that the D line group, the DNs and the D tackles are so weak that he would be run out of NovaCare if he picked that guy from Michigan at 12. Um,
Brandon Graham 2.0. They were calling him on the radio this morning.
Okay, listen, Fletcher Cox was the 12th round, was the 12th pick in the draft in 2011, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that you guys have to understand how the Eagles like to draft. They like to build in along the lines. You know, they still have the same mentality that Andy Reid gave them back in the day, which is basically I need a quarterback, I need an O line, a D line, 2 corners, and a wide receiver, and I'll figure out the rest later. So that's pretty much what they're thinking. And honestly, O alignment is a bit of an underrated need. You saw how badly our season went when 3/5 of the O line went down. We can't really rely on Andre Dillard. We just don't know. Jordan Mailata, I love the kid, but we honestly we just don't know. You need a blue chip player. So I could see where I would be talked into an O lineman, but I would fight Howie Roseman if he picks that DE from Michigan. I will fight him.
Yeah, so my thing is, it's like we got so many positions that need help. I don't care what they do. Mm-hmm. Just whoever they pick. I don't care if they pick a kicker. Whoever they pick, go on the field this year and help the team.
Right.
That's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm asking for.
That's a really good point.
Like,
when's the last player? What's the last first round pick that we had that actually went out and made an immediate impact on the field?
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson. Okay, I'll say Carson.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to see Carson, but
outside of the QB position, you're right. It would be Lane Johnson, and that's what 2013. So that's 8 years ago.
Think about this: who can't? It's hard to miss when you pick a number 2. Like so, Carson and Lane.
Very true.
So even if you go before Lane and Carson, it might be Fletcher.
Yeah. Fletcher but even Fletcher came before Lane. So we're thinking Howie Roseman. I just saw a stat the other day that said since Howie Roseman has gotten back into power, he's picked like 36 players in the NFL draft, and only 2 of them have made it a full 16-game season. Isaac Seumalo and Carson Wentz. That's it. So that's really letting you know that the players he's picked since he's gotten back from his exile haven't actually done very well, and it's actually been the veterans and the free agency hauls that have been really elevating the team, and that's why the team has been performing so badly these last 3 years, because when veterans get old, they get hurt, and when free agents get old, they're not as effective. But your youth movement, which is supposed to be helping you continue to maintain your excellency, isn't good because Howie Roseman's terrible at the draft. And not only is he terrible at the draft, he allows Jeffrey Lurie to have way too much say in some of the players being chosen for analytical reasons or interpersonal reasons or feel-good story reasons that have nothing to do with the dollars and cents and the value and the acquisition of the actual NFL draft.
Right. So that's actually one of the positive things I would say about Howie Roseman is about how he does late in the draft or doing free agents or maybe making some trades. I always felt like if he mixed that part of his game in with drafting, you ain't got to be the greatest drafter, because at the end of the day, we're Philadelphia Eagles fans, so we harp on what happened with the Eagles. But all these teams be blowing their first round picks.
It's true.
But just not as bad. So I always felt like if he was just picked a little bit better in the first round, along with what he does in later rounds, I kind of feel like we'd be in a better place. The whole team wouldn't be 32 and older.
Right. I think it's just genuinely like he tends to, I think, pit departments against each other rather than making it a collaborative. Like they say, they're always preaching how collaborative things are at the NovaCare. And that's how you know they're selling you a bunch of BS. Okay, whenever they tell you, I'm telling you right now, as an Eagles fan, I have been an Eagles fan since 2004. I have gone through Andy, I've gone through Chip, I've gone through Doug, and now we're here with Mr. Sirianni. Whenever they tell you that the collaboration process is good, they're lying to your face. There's factions and there's siloing of information, and then you get onto the draft, and then it's and that's why you can tell in our drafts where we are following a board and where we are just picking like throwing darts. Okay, you can see, and so I think that ultimately is Howie Roseman's responsibility, and that's where he fails. He fails at consolidating the best information, and then ultimately taking responsibility for the choices he makes. Like, for instance, in that last press conference, he threw the old coaching staff, because he could, under the bus with the Jalen Reagor pick, right? And he was like, well, when it came to the pick at 21, it was down to coaching and scouting. And I went with coaching because it's all about what the coach wants and coaches fit and blah, 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 right? You got Andy Waddle right there, head of the scouting department. Him and his guys have worked all year. This is their Super Bowl, okay? The Super Bowl is not the big game for them. The draft's the big game for them. And you got this mother Howie who comes in maybe 2 weeks before the draft with a big 50 board saying, no, these are the guys that we're gonna come in. I would be so insulted that my work is so invalidated like that, you know? So I really feel for the scouting department of the Eagles organization, because they are trying their best to get us really good Philadelphia Eagles. It's not their fault that Howie, Jeffrey, and the analytic department come in and say, no, we're really looking for this, that, and the third. And coaching is why we're going to go with this pick. They use coaching as a shield for their own agenda, in my opinion.
Right. So, I mean, the thing you mentioned was, you said, well, you think Howie lets Jeff have too much impact on the draft. See, the problem is it's the opposite way. It's the opposite way around. Jeffrey Lurie got to tell himself to sit the hell down, because he's the boss. But whatever they're doing in there is definitely not working out correctly. And just the whole organization is unorganized. And that's why I've been, like I said, silently protesting and just been so disgusted with this team. I just feel like everything is out of sorts. It has been out of sorts. But as we all know, the draft is really like day one. It's like the beginning of the new year.
Yep.
And
fresh start.
The first start. It's the first start. So I'm gonna try to get myself together, get my move right. And at the very least, I want to just enjoy the night. I can't let Sirianni, because again, you and I have spoken on different occasions, whether it be Clubhouse or whether it be your podcast, Three Birds and a Punt. I'm not feeling due at all. And I don't want to harp on it. I don't want to keep saying it, but every time he's on my TV screen, on my timeline, it's always something. And I feel like the world is just laughing at us.
Right.
He comes out with the paper rock scissors situation. Right. I'm cool with that. I like paper rock scissors.
Right.
But I wouldn't tell everybody that's what I rely on if I'm making an important decision.
Right.
If we doing dinner, if we picking a restaurant, we can shoot it out.
Right.
But that's just like saying, he's on life support. Come on. Right. Like, this is serious business. The draft is serious business.
I understand. You know what? I'm not even gonna hold you. I definitely have come a little bit closer to appreciating Nick Sirianni, only because when you pair him next to Howie Roseman and how, like, Howie Roseman is always selling. He's always trying to maneuver himself into the best possible light. And Nick Sirianni is just himself. He is 100% authentically himself. And I actually am appreciative of that. It seems like a breath of fresh air over the way kind of Doug used to kind of have this sort of tension with the media, almost he understood he needed it, but he had a bit of a disdain for the practice, sort of kind of how Chip sort of felt with the media too, but his was more open and Doug's was a little bit like beneath the surface. And I don't kind of like that, I like the fact that the same Nick Sirianni we're seeing is the same Nick Sirianni the players are going to see. Whether the players connect with that, that's a totally different story. I mean, he's got a very good pedigree in the NFL, so I can't deny that he makes an impact. But as a head coach, it's a sort of different type of business. Is he going to be a CEO head coach, or is he going to be a grinder, hard-nosed head coach? My biggest emphasis for Nick Sirianni, honestly, is going to be not even so much of how he presents to us, but what is he doing inside? Because this is me understanding that Doug used to present to the public kind of very well, right? We had nicknames for him. Dougie P, did this guy, that guy. We really liked him. But internally, he wasn't good at authority. He wasn't capable of maintaining his authority. He didn't coach his coaches. He didn't coach the players, and you could tell that they weren't developing in the way that they need to. From everything that I've heard from Nick Sirianni, he's a complete 180 in that aspect. He is a hard-nosed, hey, why haven't we gotten more out of this player? Hey, why aren't you doing better this? He's coaching his coaches. He is making sure that they are fine-tuning and dialing in on the details that matter in order to impact talent. So in that sense, I am pleased about that. And to your point, the rock, paper, scissors thing, I know it kind of got lost in translation, but really what he was trying to say is, in this Zoom format, we don't have the same tools to test competitive nature. But if you're a competitive person, it doesn't matter what game we're playing. We could be even playing, I did rock, paper, scissors with them. That was my thing because to me, I'm a competitive guy. I just thought something simple. Other coaches chose more higher functioning level tests for these players. But for me, it was just a very simple game. I just wanted to see, are you going to get mad if you lose? Are you going to get competitive? And I understand that to a certain point, because he had his whole criteria, and one of his criteria is how competitive the players are. Right. And so he's a competitive guy. I can definitely understand that if we don't draft players with the same intensity as him, they're going to be run down by his energy.
No, I feel that 100%. Every time I talk to you and every time we connect, I do feel like you sell me more and more on that guy. I think for me, it's just the whole high school Harry attitude thing. Mm-hmm. That's how a gym teacher is like, come on, guys.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how that rah-rah will translate, but he has been in the business for over a decade or so. So obviously it has. As a head coach, I don't know. But as a position coach, he clearly was able to get the job done.
All right. Well, like I said, every time I talk to you, you definitely make me feel better and better about the guy. But then I see him, and I'm like, man.
No, I get you. I get you. I had to kind of like tone down his intensity in my head so I could listen to his words. And so when I was able to kind of do that, I was like, oh, this is a really smart guy. He just gets like me. Like when I get passionate about my topic that I'm going, sometimes I'm talking so fast, I don't realize I've said a lot when I was trying to be way more concise. I just get caught up in the flow. And so I can, if I'm taking the time and I'm like, okay, because it really did take me some time. I'm going to be 100% honest. Tremaine knows I wasn't really feeling Nick Sirianni. And honestly, I'm not 100% sold on the guy. I'm just closer to not beating him every time I hear him, just because
there's no point in that because he's the coach.
Right.
There's no point of beating him down because he's the coach, and regardless, we're going to watch as fans. Now, early in the pod, I know you said you're not really putting much energy into the Eagles this year because you feel like, first of all, they're not putting that much energy into it, and you kind of feel like this year won't go that well record-wise. So what would be a successful 2021 season for you? Like, how are you gauging it?
That is a really great question. Honestly, I was just going to vibe out this season. I was going to laugh at everything because honestly, it's comical to me that the Eagles still walk around like their shit don't stink when they really have been showing their asses for the last 3.5 seasons. So it's just funny to me that we still kind of walk around like big man on campus mode when we haven't even sniffed out anything since 2017. But a successful season to me would be if Jalen were able to solidify himself as a starter. That would be a successful season to me. I'm not so much worried about the win-loss record because there's just too many holes, and Howie Roseman's not good at the draft, and I would really probably wait until training camp before I would actually be like closer to giving like a solid concrete answer. But just in general, if Jalen can make it through 16 games with his style of play, that would really show me something because I honestly don't think he can. And whenever I see Jalen, I'm sometimes taken back to Mike Vick and how electric and exciting and crazy that whole thing was. But then once he started getting injured, it just wasn't as fun anymore. It was just like, damn, like another injury. Damn, another injury.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was.
Right. So I don't know. I just can't help but see that aspect in Jalen. Hopefully I'm wrong, but when you're a running QB, you have to be ready for the hits, especially nowadays. They really trying to punish running QBs.
Yeah, I know for me, I'm with you. It's not really a win-loss record thing with me. Me personally, I just want to see the organization get more organized. I want to see
Hmm.
whatever moves we make sense,
Hmm.
and I want to see whatever moves we make seem like they're building on top of each other to build a
Exactly.
foundation so we can move in one
Hmm.
direction. So
Hmm.
basically, I'm starting at the bottom. I just want to see this
Right.
team making some progress moving
Right.
forward. So even whatever, like I said, whatever we do in the draft, I just hope it makes sense, and I hope it is a step in the right direction to move the draft forward. Now,
Hmm.
like you, I didn't really enjoy last season. I was super disconnected,
Hmm.
especially not being able to go to the games and having to watch it
Hmm.
here. It
Hmm.
was almost a distraction. Since I'm here, I'm home. I got my friends here. I got all the food. We got liquor. If I was watching these games at the game, I would have really hated last season. So
Hmm.
really, I can honestly say my highlight of last season was hanging out with my friends and being in the crib. And I kind of feel
Absolutely.
like what that did to me this year let me know that I ain't got to go to every game.
Hmm.
Because I used to swear I had to be at the link every game,
Right.
and I would hit a couple of away games. So next year I'm not buying nothing new.
Mm-mm.
I'm not spending money. I'm guessing by then the stadiums will be open. I'm not going to every game. If I do go to a game,
Hmm.
it'll be an away game because we're not, like you said, we walk around big man on campus. We got the highest tickets in the league.
Hmm.
We got the highest tickets in the league, and like you said, we haven't done anything since
Hmm.
2017. So, like I said, I agree with you. I just want to see this team moving in the right direction. But in the back of my mind, and I kind of spoke about this with a guest a couple weeks ago, we are the Philadelphia Eagles. In my lifetime and through my fan experience, we were never this terrible back to back. Like
Right.
when we had our dream team year, or when we had a down year, we was always able to bounce back. And with the division being what the division is, I think we're always going to be relevant or in contention for at least the whole season. So no matter
Hmm.
how bad we are, sort of like last year, it was always interesting because we were always a game, or we could always at
Right.
least still make the playoffs. And I'm
Right.
always for making the playoffs. I never want to miss the playoffs
Hmm.
because it's just such an exciting thing having not only a playoff game but a home
Hmm.
playoff game.
Hmm.
So with all that being said, I still think we can make out to be 8-8 and be in contention
Hmm.
because just of my fan experience.
Right. No, no. And now that they added a game and they
Oh, and the
added a
added
playoff spot, I think it makes it a little bit
easier.
easier probably for us to sneak in. Just in general, me myself, I am tired of single digit win seasons. I'm tired of it. I remember when Howie Roseman, not Howie, Andy Reid was giving us back to back 10
Man,
11-3, 11-4. You know what I'm saying? Big double digit win seasons. That's what I would consider consistent success whenever we're back able to get back into that.
mhm.
Um and so I I I really doubt the Howie's ability to do that. In his tenure with the team over 10 years, I know he's had his hiatus, whatever, but over his tenure as GM back and forth, he has had only one back to back double digit win season, and that was when he was with Chip, and they was power struggling that entire time.
And
So
one of
so
those years we
to
didn't even
me,
make the playoffs. We went 10-6 both
right,
years.
it didn't make the playoffs, right, and it was a whole
Started
thing.
out started out 9-3 and finished 10-6. Like,
Right. It was absolutely insane. But that was just because there was so much dysfunction because Howie's very bad with the interpersonal relationship. So to me, it's just like it's only a matter of time before all the goodwill. Like that's the thing that Howie is really best known for. He is able to generate goodwill with new people. When he has a fresh start with the new people, he's very able to generate the goodwill and that energy does propel it forward. So I could see us winning 8 games just based off of the new fresh blood and everything like that. But then once everything kind of settles, is that the high mark? Like honest to goodness, what will happen? I almost like it's one of those things where I'm almost saying like, what would be better for Eagle's psyche? Would it be better for our psyche for us to be another 4-11 team, get into the top 5, top 10, and be able to try to reset that way and really understand that this team is a while away from competing because we have some sincere foundational issues, or win 9, maybe 10 games, sneak into the and continue to delude yourself into thinking, because I think that's what the Eagles are doing. We continue to delude ourselves into thinking we're only a player away here, a player away there, a situation here, a situation there from being back in the big show. And honestly, I just don't see that to be the case. I think we have sincere, systemic, foundational issues in the Philadelphia organization that will never be completely excised until Howie Roseman is gone, a new GM is in place, and they can create better boundaries and have actual collaboration in the decision-making process.
No, I agree with you 100%. And me personally, I'd rather win 8-9 games and just keep coming close and keep coming close. But my thing about winning 8-9 games is you actually got to know where you are. You can't just say, hey, we won 9 games or hey, we made the playoffs. Like, yeah, you made the playoffs because you won 5 games in the worst division in your in the division. So my thing is, no matter what we do, it's all about self-awareness. Just know who you are if you win the playoffs.
But that's what I'm saying. If we win 8-9 games and sneak to the playoffs, what Philly name me the last time Philly had some self-awareness?
Well, that's true too. But at the end of the day, you like everybody else, you just want Howie fired. So some people would rather go 3-13.
Right. No, whatever it takes. For real. If because I know for a fact, and this is something that you mentioned the fact that no fans in the stands, so it kind of changed the dynamic of the atmosphere of watching games. I know for a fact, had there been fans in the stands for that 4-11-1 season, Howie Roseman would not have his job. Okay, because there's no way Jeff Lurie, when the way that he was looking so angry all the time watching the damn games, that he's hearing these chants of fire Howie, fire Howie, fire Howie, and retains that man. There's just no way. So
it definitely would have been.
In my mind, us having the same record and then the fans are in the stands will get me exactly what I want.
Yeah, you want that man fired. All right, before I get you out of here, I want
him going so bad.
Before I get you out of here, we're going to play a quick game. And like I said, it's only April. It's too early for the draft. I'm about to go through the schedule. And you tell me win or loss. That's all I want to hear.
Okay. I want to hear.
We'll see where we end up at. I'm going to go through first the home games because the schedule actually comes out,
May 12th.
May 12th. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we don't know when these games are, but we're going to just go through home and away. So we're going to start with home. Cowboys.
Win.
Giants.
Win.
Washington.
Loss.
These are all home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 2-1. Kansas City.
Loss.
2-2. Chargers.
Loss.
2-3. Saints.
Win.
Beat them last year. They ain't having that again. Okay, you say win? 3-2.
You said it's a home game, right?
A home game, yep.
They don't have no quarterback, so that's why I like win.
All right, so we at 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
San Fran at home.
San Fran.
We're not betting no money.
Win. We got San Fran's number. Depending on their QB.
You acting like we betting money or something, girl.
Right. I'm really trying to give it my full thought process because I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I already gave us 4 wins. I guess they're losing the rest.
Tampa at the crib. Tampa at home.
Oh, loss.
All right, so you got us going 4-4 at home.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Away games. Cowboys.
1 win, 1 loss. So that's a loss.
Okay. Giants.
We're winning all the Giants games. I don't fear the Giants ever win.
Okay. Washington.
If Ryan Fitzpatrick is still the QB, loss.
Damn. Okay. So you got it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has our number. I'm just saying. Just being honest.
I was there at that game too, down there in Tampa. I was there.
I was there at that game too, bro. That was terrible. I was so mad.
He started out with the 65-yard bomb to Deshaun. I said, man,
yeah, I was like,
down here.
I was like, shit, it's gonna be a long day, bro. And then when in the Dolphins game, because I live in Miami, so I was there at the Dolphins game where we was whooping that ass.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. And then the motherfucker came back.
The wheels fell off that thing.
Oh, I was disgusted.
All right, so you got us beating Dallas, beating the Giants. So that's 2-0 at home. You said Washington 2-1 because of Fitzpatrick. Atlanta.
No. I have a split in Dallas, so 1 win, 1 loss.
I'm going through the wayside right now. I'm going through the wayside.
Oh, okay, I see.
So 2-1 with the loss to Washington. Atlanta. If somebody got a number, shit,
Loss.
Atlanta. 2-2 in a row so far. Carolina.
Win.
3-2. Denver.
Win, depending on the QB.
4-2. Detroit.
Loss.
Okay, Vegas.
Loss.
Jets.
Win.
All right, so you got to win in 9 games. 9 out of 17. All right, so
it's only because we added that 17 game, bro.
And the crazy thing about this division, I think you got us going like, I think you said maybe 2 losses in the division, so we should be there. We should be there. So
Yeah. Because I'm gonna be honest. Look, at the end of the day, I'm an Eagles fan. Okay, I might shit on my team, but I'm also gonna be protecting them. You know, so to me, I think the Washington. I think we'll lose 3 division games. We'll lose 1 Cowboys game, and we'll lose both of the Washington football games. But I don't fear the Giants. I've never feared the Giants.
Yeah,
I'm
a little older than you. My lifetime, we've been whooping their ass my whole life, so I'm never really worried about the Giants. So
correct. We have been whooping their ass, even with Eli Manning, who is the greatest quarterback they ever had. We was whooping that ass. So I just don't fear them.
All right, Afia, I appreciate you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Tremaine. And again, please don't forget to check out 3 Birds and a Punt. We're having a Zoom draft party on Thursday. You can DM me at According to Afia for the link, or DM the pod on Twitter at 3 Birds and a Punt. It starts at 7 p.m. We want to be there. We want to have so much chaos and so much conversation. We want to get engaged with Eagles fans. And if you want to read any of my mental health work, you can always check out my blog at According to Afia. You can check me out on Twitter at According to Afia as well. Thank you so much, Tremaine. I really enjoyed the conversation.
As always, appreciate you. This ain't Rocket Science for episode 75. We out.